afternoon, everybody out there in Regular People Travel World.
Hey, everyone.
It's Alan.
And Brooke.
And we're coming at you today with one of our favorite places in the world.
Yes.
Nemea Greece.
Greece, yes.
So Nemea Greece is in a little place called Peloponnese. Anybody familiar? Good, I wasn't either. Check this map out. So right here is Peloponnese. It's right outside of kind of the mainland of Greece. It's not an island because it's connected by a narrow isthmus that is what's the big test? SAT word that I had to learn in order to be able to go to college, of which I took extra long than most people.
Okay.
So, Peloponnese, it's off to the side of the mainland, and right up at the top, right as you come out of that narrow isthmus, is a little town called Nemea.
Yes.
So Nemea is the heart of the wine country of Peloponnese, and really Southeastern Europe.
Yeah, there's actually 30 wineries up there. You wouldn't believe it going up there, but I mean, there's a lot of space. It's beautiful, so definitely tip top for wineries.
So it's if you're looking directly at a map, in order to go around the Saronic Gulf and then to go back into Peloponnese, it's about an hour and a half from main city center of Athens, Greece. And so we were able to rent our car. If you haven't seen our car renting video in Greece, take a peek through the other videos. We'll link it in the bio. And you get a chance to kind of understand how we rented a car. We left on a Thursday, which is incredibly important to how the story went down. So I encourage you to watch and find out why it was important that we left on a Thursday.
Yes. So Alan said that drive was an hour and a half drive. You guys, an hour and a half is not that long. But when you're driving up the coast in Greece, it's beautiful. You see part of the ocean, you see mountains, you see little towns and little villages on the side of the road, you see churches. Honestly, it was just like what we are used to on, a major highway here in the US. The only difference is there's a lot of tolls. So make sure you have your euros and your change out. But it's like 3 or 4 lanes wide. We didn't really have a lot of traffic driving, other than coming through some of the big tolls. So it's an easy drive. It's a good place to do it.
Yeah, hot take. I think the roads are nicer than South Carolina's roads. South Carolina, we're watching you. We're watching you with those roads. So all that being said, our goal when we got to Nemea was to go to a winery. That's what you do there. It is the Napa Valley of Southeastern Europe. And so when we got there, we had talked to one of our friends, Stam. Shout out Stam. Stam led us straight to Simili Winery. And, the Grand Reserve. And guys, we'll give you guys a little bit of update on prices as well, kind of how much we spent.
Yeah.
Because just to give you an idea, that Grand Reserve bottle, most of the places in Napa Valley or the really expensive wine places, that could be a $200, $300, $400 bottle. I think that was $30, $35.
Yeah.
It was a nothing burger. And that wine,
It
outrageously good. So we went to Simili Winery and we got to the gate and we couldn't figure out how to get in. So we able to find around and we found a little guard shack. And so the fellow that was in the guard shack spoke no English.
No English.
So we lived and died on Google Translate.
Yep.
And so we were able to Google Translate to him that we were coming up for a tasting. We didn't book it prior, so we kind of just showed up and winged it. And when we got there, we realized we had missed the last tour group for the day. So we were pretty disappointed when we got there. All of a sudden, a nice man came out of the bushes and said, "Hey, are you guys here for a tasting?" And we said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, sorry, our last tour group just went through, but I'm the master winemaker here, and I'm going to take you on a private tour."
He was so nice. I mean, it was amazing. So he took us through everywhere where, I don't know, I guess it's like, I don't know the words for it, but here's a picture of it. You can see all of the vats where they're making the wine. I mean, he gave us a full-blown tour, and then we did catch up with the previous tour, and we just kind of, worked our way in with that, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, and so when we met up with him, we were down in the cellar room, and it was nice and dark, and it's one of those just picturesque cellar moments. You feel like you're a James Bond villain, even though you're not a bad person. It's like you're a James Bond millionaire good guy. So we were down in the cellar room and we met up with the tour guide led by Miss Margarita.
Yes.
Miss Margarita is the best wine expert you will ever meet. She was awesome, a firecracker. And so we left there and went upstairs out of the cellar room and went to our tasting.
So from there, you could choose a couple different kinds of tastings, whether you wanted to taste 3 different wines or 5 different wines. So we tasted 5. Well, I guess we really tasted 10 because we had 5 whites and 5 reds, I think. And you had cheese and crackers that was complimentary to taste with your wines. It was me and Alan. And there was a group of 3 women from South Africa that were so funny. They were on vacation.
Shout out Thea.
Yes.
You made a big enough impression on us from thousands of miles away to remember your name.
Yes, she was hilarious. We loved her. And then there was one other couple. So it was a small little group of us, but we all talked and met each other and drank wine. And the prices were they were really good.
So our actual tasting, including the tour, was I think $25 per person. And that was wine, cheese, crackers, tour, the experience, all that kind of all put together. Plus some really incredible views that you would not get anywhere else other than this winery.
Yeah, I mean, you were on top of a mountain.
Yeah, you are literally perched on top of a mountain and you're overlooking North Peloponnese. Way off in the distance, there was a rumor that you could see Mount Olympus. We did not see it, but there's a rumor that you could see it. But it was awesome. And so we left there and we drove back down these windy mountain roads down to the actual town of Nemea. And we were lucky enough to meet up with somebody who had a Airbnb, and he owns the Gala. It's not a bar.
It's called like Gala Cafe and Snacks.
Yeah. And so we met up with him. He got us into our Airbnb. It was spectacular.
Beautiful.
Spectacular. It was clean. There was plenty spacious because we were coming from Central Athens where we had the biggest Airbnb we could find and we could, turn around once or twice and be back to where we started. So it was an awesome Airbnb.
Yeah. So one thing to keep in mind when you go into Nemea from our experience is, you're driving, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you come into the main little downtown main street of Nemea, where there's a flower shop and there's a dry cleaner and there's a drugstore and there's restaurants. And
it looks like total Main Street USA.
Yeah, but it's one little street. It's really busy. The streets are very narrow. Cars are very small. You kind of drive through that and then you keep going. And we kind of took a wrong turn and we should have gone to the right to get to the winery. Instead, we took a left. So we kind of keep going and we wind down this road. And next thing you know, we're in a village.
We're in a whole other village.
And it's not too far away, but we kind of go up a hill and we kind of go down a hill, and then there's not really enough room to get any cars. So
whatever it was, we were finally back in town.
Yes.
So we got into our Airbnb, we got all checked in, and based on Miss Margarita's suggestions, we decided that we were going to go eat at a place called Sophos. Sophos is famous in Northeast Peloponnese for being top-notch food.
Yes.
Now, let's return to the question of why it was very important that me and Brooke left on a Thursday. So we were leaving the Thursday before Easter. So the next day was going to be Good Friday. Well, in the Eastern Orthodox faith, from midnight going into Friday, all the way until that Saturday night going into Sunday at midnight, you don't eat.
You fast.
You fast. And I'm a front row Baptist. We eat green bean casserole like it's going out of style. So I'm not used to that. So all that being said, we were told that was going to be the night to go eat. Everybody's got the best food going out that night because everybody's stocking up on food for the fast. And so we went over to Sophos, and it was closed.
Well, Margarita was nice enough to call them on her cell phone personally and ask them, are you guys open? What time's a good time for, my new friends to come and eat? And she said, okay, you guys get there about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And we were like, okay. So at this point, it's about 7 and they're not open. So we're thinking, we're kind of hungry, we need to eat. So we stopped and we ate at 17 Villages because we were thinking maybe they won't be open. In America, a restaurant would be open. So we thought maybe there was just some miscommunication with language, no big deal. So we went to 17 Villages, we had a full meal, we had some wine, we were stuffed.
Yeah, 17 Villages is kind of like a gastropub. It's very upscale. It's very, we don't have a menu. You know, you have a 3-dish choice between what the chef makes. High-end wines, beautiful interior.
Yeah, it was great.
And they have a wine cellar right off of the dining room, so you can go in and pick your bottle if you like.
Yeah.
We usually just ask for house. And that's in Greece, Italy, or really everywhere we've been in Europe. We just ask for house wine. Typically, wine in Europe tends to be at a much higher quality from a baseline than American wines.
Yeah.
They're not going to serve you barefoot over there.
So we leave there. We are just full to here. I mean, we're full to the brim. We do a little shopping. We buy Trip a little outfit, and we're like, all right, let's swing back by Sophos and just see. So we swing back by, and it's right at 9 o'clock, and you guys, they were open. So we thought, oh my gosh, we have to go in because Margarita called them and we didn't want to be rude.
We didn't want to upset anybody.
So we got there and they were just opening up. But, you know, what we found out was they had worked, kind of shut down, had dinner themselves with their families, and then they opened back up because people were coming to eat before the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
So we get there, we're the only ones, and then the whole place fills up. We ate another full meal with more wine, a full, you know, meal, and at this point we're so full we can't even see straight.
Yeah, guys, I know I look like the kind of guy that can handle 2 full meals back to back. I was miserable, but I was so content.
Oh my gosh, it was the best. So yeah.
So then we left Sophos and went down to the Anatoly bar. We were kind of winging it. We didn't really know what to expect, and when we got to the Anatoly bar, it was like massive parties going on.
The whole town was there.
It was 2 city blocks, pretty much blocked off. And so we just kind of got in where we fit in. We went inside the bar. We sat at the bar for a little bit. And, you know, when we go out and travel, we love to talk to locals.
Yeah.
And so we realized that inside the bar, it was very service oriented, get people in, get people out. Nobody was really sitting and talking. It was kind of, I call it service industry bar, where you're in, out, you get what you need, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we were able to sit down outside. We left and went outside, and we found 2 friends.
Yeah.
They were college students, Marina and Kyriakos.
I think so, yeah.
Kyriakos, Marina and Kyriakos, shout out. And we had the best time.
Yeah, they just let us sit down in their booth, and we just started talking, and we talked for hours.
Yeah, we talked about politics, religion, driving, crime, ideological differences. And I so appreciate, and I encourage anyone that travels to somewhere that isn't where you live at.
Yeah.
Talk to people and find out how they operate. I went into Greece thinking that everyone who is Greek is overwhelmingly proud to be Greek. Then they're just proud to be from Greece. And that's not what I found. There are definitely some differences of opinion between the general population and maybe the administration. And so while they're all very proud to be Greek people, they're not necessarily proud or even want to stay in the country of Greece.
Yeah. But I mean, all in all, going to Nemea, if you guys haven't been, go to it. You know, you don't have to stay like we did and get an Airbnb. A lot of people, what we found out, the people that were at our winery tour, they were coming for the day. They either drove themselves or they might have had a driver. They got back to Athens, you know, responsibly and stayed there. So a lot of people will come up. You can even, get a tour.
People were surprised when we were staying as tourists. They thought everybody just goes back to Athens or goes back to Corinth. But I mean, we're the type of people that like getting out of the beaten path.
And that night, especially with the holiday weekend, we were the only tourists that we saw out. The only ones at the restaurant, the only ones at the bar, which it was kind of cool because we just kind of blended in and we were like, we just want to live as the Greek people live in Nemea. And
I was wearing shorts. I was wearing shorts, so I stuck out like a sore thumb.
But it's okay. They still loved us. It was nice.
And we did all that because we were going to go to Naphthalio the next day.
Yes.
Keep your eyes open for a Naphthalio video.
Yes.
It is.
You guys don't want to miss that.
Awesome. But yeah, that was our trip to Nemea. We had a wonderful time. All in all, I would say with the $50 that we spent at the winery, plus about $100 for the Airbnb for the night, which transparently is fairly high for the area, but for what you got, totally worth it.
Yeah.
And then we spent probably $40 at both of the restaurants. And then probably about another $30 at the bar. That's about what we spent for 2 days in Nemea, and we weren't really restraining ourselves. We had kind of let the budget go for the day. We had saved up a little bit a few days prior. But we had a wonderful time. We cannot wait to go back.
Yeah, if you guys have ever been, please let us know what your experiences were, or if you're planning on going in the future, ask us a question.
Yeah.
We're here to help you guys with whatever knowledge we have.
Awesome. And whatever knowledge we have, hopefully we can transmit to you and make your travel anything other than regular.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.